Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's Siege Cardinal League, where we've got Homeland versus Team Front. I am Lighter, I'm the only caster for tonight, so you're going to have to get used to hearing this voice. And we're going to be playing on Oregon for today, as you can see right there on your screen. And then we see a very skewed community poll, 85% for Homeland over Team Front, but if you look at standings, it's not very surprising. We see Homeland, they have 3 wins, 1 draw, and Team Front, they're struggling. They're still looking for a win. They are 0-3 now. If we go to the stats, we will be able to see Homeland. Now, overall, they're looking pretty good. Even their worst rated player, Beezer, has a fairly high stats. Look at his KOST 500, and then look at all the other players in Siege Cardinal League. That's relatively high for where they stand. And you see Anarchy doing absolutely wonderful with that high rating, high KD of 1.6. That is one high KD. Now going over to Team Front, we can see that they aren't doing as well as Homeland, but considering where they are in the standing, that kind of makes sense. You got Teckle at the high front with a 1.26 rating and not as high of KD as the others on Homeland, but the ones that poke out to me are Joe and CME, who have that 0.7 rating. So there's 2 that are statistically doing worse than someone like Beezer, and that's not good when the worst stats player, not saying worse in like that they're the worst player, but that they're doing better than 2 players on Team Front. And the map that we're going to, as I mentioned before, is going to be Oregon, and we're going to see Homeland defending first. So we saw either of these teams, we've seen Team Front play on Oregon. Homeland has not played on Oregon before, but I expect behind the scenes they are preparing for this. And, if we look at the bans, we can see that we saw Team Front banning Villa, Coastline Hospital, banning Clubhouse Cafe, and Theme Park. So really these teams are deciding that, they've practiced enough, they're kind of ready to go into it, because Oregon is a relatively new map. It's newer than Theme Park, which a lot of teams choose not to go to Theme Park because it's relatively a frustrating match. Usually see a 5-1, which is very, very skewed compared to something like a 4-2 on other maps, or a 3-3. And because it requires so much perfection in your execution, whether that's on attack, on defense, then another map like Oregon, which we're going to. In Oregon is a map that usually you see 2 sites. You'll see basement and you'll see dorms. Now, dorms is usually played either 2 ways. It's coming from armory side or coming from attic side, but the attic side is more popular. You'd usually see a thermite trying to get that wall open, that attic wall open, and then a Wamai and all those ADSs, all those magnets, and a deployable shield just holding it down for his life. And the goal of the round is to try to get that Wamai away from that position and attack that attack side, getting the wall open, finding anyone else, clearing out the roamers, and stuff like that. Now, the basement side can go a lot of ways, simply because there's so many ways you can attack it. You can go from White Stairs, I believe it's northern side. Oregon's a different type of map. It's changed a little bit with the rework. So some things have changed, some things have not, but basement's a little bit more fleshed out than it was last season. Now, we're still waiting to get in on this game. We're still waiting for some players to get in. So I guess what we can do here is we can kind of go over the remaining members of Homeland and Team Front. So on Homeland, we've got Anarchy, Merc, Exile, Navozo, and Beezer. And we've seen some of these players in Siege Cardinal League before. We've seen Exile and Navozo previously in Siege Cardinal League in something like last season. And then on Team Front, we've got Teckle leading the charge with that 1.26 rating. We've got Peach, Invictus, Joe, and CME. So we're waiting to lead the charge into this. Now, looking back at previous matches, Homeland is statistically on top with their standings, but they really haven't had too much to fight for. Almost two of their matches last week, they got the win over Powerhouse. I believe that was a forfeit, and Remedy over, I believe that was also a forfeit. And then they have also won over Akara Gaming and tied with Claw Central. So they really haven't had too much to fight for. They just kind of got these wins. I don't want to say handed to them, but they're still a relatively good team looking at their stats. You know, they've got great players like Exile and Merc. And then going over to Team Front, they have had all their losses. They've got a loss against Unreal Nightmare, Tactical Banditry, Troll Team 6, and then Akara Gaming. But a lot of their rounds or their matches have been really close 7-5, 7-4s. So Team Front is a team that is really close to going over the edge. They're so close to getting those wins, getting those final rounds that they need to push it forward, but they just haven't taken the last step. Yeah, so we're still waiting on them. Trying to do my best to give you guys some content on this as we're waiting for the last member of Homeland to get in here. And we've got our great observer for the evening tabled, great production Madoko. I hope I'm saying those correctly, because we're running a little bit shorthanded, but we want to give you guys a great show. I mean, we want to cast all the matches, observe all the matches, get all the stats out there, and make sure that everybody sees everything that's getting played. Yeah, and as we're gonna cut to a break as we wait for the last member of Homeland, we'll be right back, and we'll get this match as soon as possible. All right, we are back. Everybody's finally ready. I know it was just anticipation waiting for this game to start because it could go either way. We could see Team Front because they have had a little bit more public practice in Siege Cardinaling on this map, really work out, have them win, but it really all comes down to how it's going to play. We're going to see Homeland on the defense first and Team Front on the attack first. We're going to have the Team Front bands first. I'm expecting something fairly normal. I'm expecting like a Thatcher ban, something like that. A Nomad ban is possibly, perhaps, we're seeing the members, we're seeing Exile Beezer. There we go. We are seeing Thatcher, and we're we're seeing the members of each team really talking it out in chat. It's great having that friendly banter. I can't explain what's happening, to be honest, but I'm sure whatever's happening, they're just having a great time. I really can't explain what's happening, but as we're seeing the second ban come out, we're Team Front, we're seeing a Thermite ban, excuse me, and that could change up some things because that Thermite is pretty useful on this map, especially when it comes to, as I mentioned beforehand, in that second floor attack, and Wamai as well. So that just really takes off that typical attack. We aren't going to see Wamai hold down with a deployable shield. We might see somebody else, possibly a Jaeger, but Jaeger's usually set for that roam. And we're going to have to see something like a Maverick or a Habana trying to get that wall open. So I'm expecting to see a lot of Maverick play simply because Habana is usually reserved for other things. And then an Echo Band to really round it out. Echo is just a normal overall ban, no matter what real map you're going to play on. So now, as we're getting on in, finally, we're going to see this go down. Homeland versus Team Front round one. And I'm very interested to see where Homeland's going to go first. And they're going to not go for that second floor. They're just going to go down to basement, going with a pretty typical lineup. We see a smoke, a castle, a mute, a Jaeger. There's going to be no Wamai because Wamai is banned. But as I mentioned, they are going to have a Maverick and a Habana. Without that Thermite, you're really strapped for options. But oh no, don't bring out the Blackbeard. Oh, okay, you can't do that, Invictus. You can't throw away your dignity in the first round of the game. Just pick Blackbeard. That's disgusting. I'm sorry if you play Blackbeard out there, but don't, because Blackbeard is not a fun operator to play against or play. So, getting personal opinions out of there, we're starting to see Homeland, come through with their attack. We're seeing Beezer reinforce that meeting call, wanting to really stop any attack coming from those stairs. And just a pretty typical setup. We're seeing the castle trying to get any normal doors that these attackers would come through. We're seeing that smoke set up the deployable shield to defend blue bunker. But we're also seeing a little bit of a meeting room. We're seeing a little bit of that north side roam. Possibly either we see from Beezer, Anarchy, and they want to stop anyone coming from that direction. We're seeing, these castle barricades being used in multitude up here, along with impacts and anything else. We can see they're really setting it up out there. But utilities still being deployed, impact still being made, as we're already seeing Team Front. We're just really rushing the lobby, and they might be going for a rush round one, wanting to get it over really quickly with that shotgun. Gonna start to do some damage. Exile takes out two before he goes down. And now Homeland are even in man count. It's a 3v3, and now it's just a little bit patient, but Ginga gonna find it. So now that Homeland is behind in man count, Team Front have a little bit of site control, but they want to find one more before they can really start planting, as drones are starting to go out, just wanting to find Merc and Navozo. Invictus still hasn't put it down, but a frag grenade going to be thrown out. Done some damage to Merc, not enough to deal lethal damage, but still alive and kicking. Still just being extremely patient, wanting to know where everyone on Homeland is, the last two remaining members, before Invictus wants to plant this. And we're gonna have to reload as the drone spots him, but there's so much patience coming out from Team Front, and now Invictus finally planting the diffuser on that east side of a site. And we're gonna try to go through rotate hold, but Ginga's gonna find him as Navozo finds a refrag. It's all up to this SMG-11, a low magazine, as Navozo does not have time to reload. They're gonna peek the corner, but the zombie is laying down, and Team Front, with a pretty well executed rush, are gonna take round one. And I just don't think we saw Homeland be ready for that. going on to the second round site. We are going to see a switch up going to those dorms. Not going to opt again. Not going to tempt fate with a basement pick, because even though a rush would be highly unlikely, it's just really not going to happen, as they're just going to go straight to dorms. Going to go with a Valkyrie, a Mira, possibly, to hold down sites more. And Invictus not going to six pick. I think that's just going to be Invictus's shtick, is trying to six pick onto an operator. That would kind of be gross, but then just going straight onto the Maverick, because Maverick is just a great operator all around. But I'm very interested to see where this Mira is going to be played, possibly in sight, possibly wanting to get a greater view onto Attic. But that means that their extension would have to be extremely far into these armory, into this master bedroom kind of area. And there's going to be 2 deployable shields being used. We're seeing one from Merc, one from Exile. And one's already been used, but I'm expecting Exile is going to be using this deployable shield onto this attic hallway, wanting to really get the most of it, because that's just where the typical play is. Navozo deploying a mirror window in B site. Now, utility still being used. We're seeing that mirror window as well, moving into A site, wanting to get that. Both of them are in B side as well, wanting to get a big window and wanting to get into attic as long with a rotate. But Team Front this time, they're being a little bit more cautious. They're not gonna go for the roam, but CME already inside master bedroom, being pretty aggressive. You know, that's the stereotypical Ashe play, wanting to get inside the building, wanting to get those entry frags, because that's really her role, is just finding where the members of the defense are. And Beezer, with a great shot, is going to find out Yasser's, and the Nomad is just gone in basement stairs, wondering how they were able to be taken out so quickly with a Maverick by them. Merc gonna take some damage, still alive, still able to rotate those Valkyrie cams. But Merc opting with the deployable shield. I didn't notice this before. They're opting with the deployable shield instead of the C4, which Valkyrie is really known for. That with using of cams, she's just able to throw that C4. And they're only going to use Navozo, who's thrown the C4, doesn't get anything, but is taken out instead. And there we go. It's a 4v4 even man count. Oh, but Bees are going to fire some shots, not going to find anything. Deals a little bit of damage to Invictus, but Invictus still pretty alive for now. Going to have enough health to take a pretty good trade. We're still trying to get into side diffuser, not in Team Front's hands. They're going to have to go back and get it. But a minute 26 left, and now we've seemed to come to a standstill, as diffuser still not in Team Front's hands. We're seeing multiple members all around, but mostly in that south side. There's really, Habana pellets have been used onto walk-in wall, so that allows CME to get a great view into sight, but nobody's really peeking it. So, but Merc is going to be downed and taken out by Exile's own smoke. That's very unfortunate. Obviously, Exile didn't mean for that to happen. That's just a passive of his gadget. And now ping's coming out, so that means that Team Front can't move forward for now, and Ginga is just unable to find this Valkyrie cam, as they're getting scared off by these pings. The smoke canister is being used off, and there we go. We are seeing a push forward. Invictus going to be down, and for right now, it's a 3v3 unless Invictus is going to be put back up by Joe. And that is exactly going to happen. That means that Team Front are going to have to man count. But right now, Homeland has a really secure hold on the site, especially with taking out of Invictus and the downing of Ginga. 14 seconds, CME is going to have to put this diffuser down. That is not going to happen, as Homeland, with a pretty decisive round, a lot different than the first, we might be set up for a pretty even game. And Homeland, they are not able to go to that second floor bomb site, so they're going to opt for meeting hall and kitchen instead of something like kitchen dining, which we usually see. So a little change up of the status quo, which pretty good. But hopefully the Valkyrie is going to be bringing that C4 instead of the deployable shield, because while the deployable shield is a very good gadget, the ability to take out somebody with a secondary gadget is just unmatched. And so the operators that are able to have the C4 are just picked so much more. Looking at like Kaid, Mute, Valkyrie, these operators would just be not as useful if they did not have their C4s. You know, some have become iconic with some like the Valkyrie and Bandit because they've just had them for so long and they've just been so crucial in their picking of them. We're seeing these drones trying to find this bomb site of meeting hall and kitchen. Valkyrie cams of Merc could be really crucial in helping Team Front, Homeland win this round. As we saw last round, the pinging of the Zofia cams, those Valkyrie cams in attic hallway, made it so that Ginga was just not able to push up, and that means that it was allowing the smoke to really just hold behind the mirror window and have a much better presence on the site, and therefore just made it such an easier round for Homeland. We're seeing an attic hold here. Kaid gonna be able to electrify those walls simply because his gadget's able to go through floors. That's a definite buff of the electrical. He's able to get both of the meeting hall. He's able to get those meeting hall walls, and he's able to get the attic walls. So something that Bandit really can't do. But Merc already going to be taking out Ginga. So Zofia not going to have the M762. Not going to have those impacting concussions grenades. That's a big loss very early in the round. And Merc, I mean, I'm questioning the deployable shield, and I was, but now I'm definitely not, as you're able to claim a kill very, very early in the round and put yourself in an extreme advantage here, as Team Front is still trying to attack this attic hallway, wanting to get this Valkyrie out of here. But Valkyrie isn't the only person that they're going to have to deal with. You know, we see Exile holding in dorms as well. But the drone is going to try to spot that Valkyrie. But it's really not going to do too much. They're just locating the relative position of Merc. They're wasting a lot of time here. They're going to deal with that Electro Claw. So that means they're going to be able to push into the site a lot easier, as Merc is going to be able to use those Valkyrie camps to gain a lot of information on where this attack is coming from. There's a lot of presence on this site, because this is really where site presence can be. You know, Team Front, if they're able to get this attic relatively quickly within the next 30 seconds, they'll have a really good attack coming in here. But Joe wanting to get this flank, but Anarchy is going to shut down CME. And now with your Ashgon, Soft Breach is almost off the board, as Joe's really going to go for meeting hold here. And Yazzer going to be finally able to get a frag for Team Front. But now they're still going to have to attack this site. A man down, still having this Valkyrie up in attic, who is poised to take out Invictus, but a flank just might change that from Joe, as now we might see a little bit of a pincer come out from Merc. But I recognize that they probably know exactly where these attacks are coming from. They're just going to have to back off. Great rotation coming out from the Valkyrie, as now as Invictus and Joe go forward, they're just wondering where this Valkyrie is, and that's just Valkyrie is just wasting so much time from these attackers, drawing their fire, drawing their attention, as just the time ticks away, but just finally able to take it. And now Team Front, and time is to their side now, as they're going to even up the man count, go up in the man count, excuse me. But Navozo wants to put a stop to this, as now it's just a whole Mexican standoff. But Navozo gonna find a double kill, and now it's just him versus the Type 89 of Joe. But Navozo knows that he has time on his side. He's gonna rotate around meeting hall. Navozo! Joe almost had the kill, but a great comeback from Navozo with the SMG-11, a 1v3, and Homeland are gonna go up in rounds with a great recoil control, great shots coming out from Navozo. And as the sites are going to refresh, we're going to be going back to basement. You know, the last basement site went a little bit poorly for Homeland, but that could be due to them being unprepared for the rush of Team Front. But now I'm expecting that's really the forefront of their mind. They have the strats ready for a rush. They have the strats ready for not a rush. They have the strats ready no matter what. And the question is, do Team Front have it without the rush? That's a real question. But the operator lineup from last basement is not going to be changed at all. They're going to stay with that Vigil mute Jaeger Smoke Castle, which they've run in most of these rounds, excusing the Valkyrie. Merc going to be opting over to the Jaeger, who's just, a Jaeger's got to be played all around. We've seen like maybe a couple rounds and a couple matches that I can think of as last week, or excuse me, a couple days or last week time is a thick soup now. But Oryx getting picked over the Jaeger, that's one example I can think of. But Jaeger is just such a versatile operator, a great gun. The 416C carbine is low recoil, high damage, a decent rate of fire, and the ability to just deny so much utility coming out from this attack. I mean, if you look at Habana denies the flashes, Ash denies her flashes and her charges. Maverick denies frag grenades. Zafia denies all of her utility, like her impacts and her concussions. And Nomad, I believe, also deals with those air jabs. And there's no other operator like that, especially with the Wamai ban. And even Wamai really can't compete with how much Jaeger does because Wamai needs to stay alive in the round. Merc is just able to put those ADSs down wherever he wants. He's wanting to put that around Pillar for now, since that's where he's holding. But some shots gonna be ran out, and Anarchy is gonna find Yasser again, but CME is gonna be able to refrag onto Beezer. So luckily, they're gonna be able to find that refrag because that is the second time that the Nomad has gone down very early in the round. And now CME and Invictus both going to take some damage, and it's Anarchy again with the UMP by Dorms. They're just doing a wonderful job, going to allow that Super Shorty to rotate, and they're just running rampant around Team Front. They're going to take a little bit of damage, but that really doesn't matter. They've still got a beating heart and a trigger and a hand to hold the trigger on a gun. And that's all you really need, as Ginga, CME, and Joe are going to be definitely a little bit more wary going around this meeting hall, but little do they know that the castle has definitely rotated back onto site. As they're trying to get this attack, they're going to go onto Laundry Stairs, but Exile is just really holding that corner with the shotgun. We saw Exile claim 2 the last time that these teams were on here. That shotgun is such a deadly weapon. The Mossberg, one of the best shotguns in the game. And think of the French shotgun, LS shotgun, but a punch hole or bullet hole here with the SMG-11 is poised at the head height of that Ash. So just one peek would allow that Homeland to really go up again, but a missed shot as Ginga's going to run into Laundry and just going to have angles onto all the sites. But Ginga going to find Exile with a great shot. Navozo taking some damage as well, going to have to back off as it's a 3v3. Diffuser on the top of Laundry Stairs, but they're going to grab it and wanting to plant on this A site. Joe having control of the hatch as they're going to flash the site and going to jump on in. But we see Ginga is going to be down. And now as the proximity alarm is going to give away that Habana is there, but Navozo and Anarchy are just both so low. But Ginga, being Zafia, is just going to be able to withstand. And that just might be a thorn in the side of Homeland. That passive that Zafia gets might be coming back, but it is not, as Homeland claims 2, and they're going to go 3-1, looking pretty strong, barring that first round, which they probably were unprepared for. Seems that they are just right now superior in execution and winning these gunfights. So as I mentioned previously, the rush has really garnered the only win for Team Front. You could look at where Navozo 1v3, that could have definitely gone in Team Front's direction, but I mean, Navozo had all the info. You look at the Valkyrie, who gives that info, and those team comms, it was just clearly Navozo was more prepared in that situation, had the gun skill, and that just can represent Homeland really as a whole right now over Team Front, because they're just really making a mockery of them simply because these rounds, they're not real close at all. We see Homeland coming up really strong with about 2 members each time, and we are gonna see a Valkyrie again from Merc, Navozo on that Mira, and this worked last time. It worked absolutely beautifully because it allowed in the late round for that smoke to just hide behind the mirror window, able to throw out those toxic canisters. The pings came up from the Valkyrie. It's just a perfect storm for Team Front to just run their head up against a brick wall. They're just stuck. They have no other option but to push forward, where they know Homeland is just lying in wait. And that's a great utility being used. Those mural windows, those Valkyrie cams, smoke canisters, it just all comes together. It's perfection. And how are Team Front going to deal with that this time? They need to use that soft destruction to their ability, burn those ADSs, use those Ash charges. It's just something, because that is kind of the meta right now. It's just you need to get rid of everything that the defense is bringing. Lying in wait. Hopefully, we're going to see if one person will be able to survive past the 1 minute mark, as we're nearing just about a minute into it. Some flashes gonna rain out. CME once again in trophy, and Ash has just been so present on the site as normal. You know, the R4C, this breach is just so good. CME is going to be able to find Nabozo, and now as the C4 is off the board and a Vector 45 as well. That's going to be a great start for Team Front to start evening this round count out. They're still have the ability to even it up before the split. You know, go 4-2, 3-3. That's definitely water off the back right now. But if you go 5-1, that is going to be extremely hard to come back for. But a CME's first frag is going to be the first step into stopping that, as the Habana pellets are going to open the walk-in closet. We see Beezer, Invictus, and Ginga all take some damage as they're going to try to really duel it out on the first floor. We see Ginga going over to Attic, Invictus on the outside. And right now, team members of Team Front all around, but Anarchy is going to claim Invictus's life. The wriggle does not work here, says the Alta. And now it's a 4v4, the advantage that Team Front had. No more, as the Maestro Camp's going to be able to spot the Zofia. That means that she's just going to have to go somewhere else. There's, you know, a repeated story once again, but these are really lying in wait, definitely wanting to claim Ginga's life. As time starts to tick down, we're seeing a little bit of a repeat of last time we were in dorms. We're seeing someone coming from Attic, and we're seeing the others come from Trophy, as the smoke canister is going to start to just damage CME. Oh, looks the wrong way at the wrong time. And that's very unfortunate, but Ginga luckily going to be able to refrag that Valkyrie. Mercs have been on a little bit of a tear recently, so it's good for them, but CME's still going to be able to deal some info. You know, it's the luck of not being personally taken out, but Beezer is looking for a presence. But Yasser, great reflexes, but they're going to be able to trade that out. And now it's just Anarchy against the rest of Team Front. We've seen this happen before, as the Alda's going to take out the Zofia, wanting to pre-fire in this corner, as Joe is going to start planning the diffuser, and that 1v3 is not going to happen this time. Very lucky for Team Front. You know, you definitely don't want to have that happen 2 times in a row. And now they're going to have 2 rounds on this attacking side. Definitely want to make it 3 here, as depending on where the site goes, we could see Team Front be very, very prepared. In this meeting hall kitchen, they had the advantage last time we were here. Navozo 1v3'd that. So you should have had this round already. All you need to do is finish the job. I mentioned in the intro that was really Team Front's problem. They were so close to just putting all the pieces together, but they just weren't able to put the finishing touch. You know, 7-5, 7-4. There's been so many matches where that's happened, and we really might see a repeat of that. You know, we saw rounds where they were this close to winning. Will we see that again going on to Meeting Hall Kitchen? We see the Kaid of Anarchy, you know, used once again just to be able to electrify both of the attic walls and meeting hall. And the utility being used there means that you can electrify something else. You can be able to stop the defenders somewhere else. And with the ban of a Thatcher, and you know, we've seen the only person who really can be able to counter that Kaid well is the Maverick. And the Maverick has become so crucial on maps where vertical play is just not available. On a map like Oregon, roam presence is just so heavy. By the time you're able to take that second floor, you just don't have time to get rid of those electric claws, get rid of those bandit batteries. And that's why you just have to resort to something like a Maverick instead of a Sledge, instead of a Buck, something like that that would be able to just deal mass destruction to a floor. Once again, we might see CME come from this master bedroom wanting to take out these roamers. You know, we see Merc Exile being on the dorm side again. That's just where they come from. But Yazer's gonna take some damage again, but luckily they're gonna be able to stay alive. You don't want to be going down 3 times in the beginning of a round. So they're gonna still be able to put down all of their air jabs, still gonna have that ARX. But now some gunfights might possibly be happening, as we're seeing definitely faster roam clear coming out from Team Front. We're seeing this attic wall being opened by Maverick tricking it, but oh, very unlucky. The electricity is just going to zap that drone before it even has a chance to locate Merc. Now, Flashbang's going to be running out as long as bullets. This Merc is just going to have to dip, dive, duck, dodge their way out of this attic and use the road tolls that they've been given. But CME is just waiting right around the corner to locate the Valkyrie, and Anarchy is going to be able to refrag that. So no harm, no foul to either of these teams. You possibly lose some utility on the offense. But we see Beezer holding on these white stairs, having that proximity alarm so they're able to see somebody. But Exile still there, still waiting with the UMP, as Invictus is just unluckily going to walk around the corner as more sprays come out through the wall, going to deal some damage. And Exile still is just so prevalent, and he's oh so close to finding another one. But CME is just still deadly as ever with Yar 4C and the shotgun to the board of Mossberg. Is not just going to deal enough damage to take out the remaining members of Team Front, who collectively have about 60 HP, 55 if they're lucky. You flip that around, that doesn't really make sense, but overall, they just do not have enough health to really contest this. They're going to have to find the heads, use their utility well, possibly have the members of Homeland run into some Nomad air jabs, but CME is going to be down, and yes, Yazers is just going to have to go down, pick them up, and there's just absolutely no health on the side of Team Front. And they're just running on fumes here. They are out of gas and shooting the black eye. That means Homeland knows exactly where they are, and they just have the health to really win these gunfights, no matter what gun they have. And as they drop, you see the SMG-11 find one. Mossberg brings out, and CME has absolutely no chance of winning that with the remaining members of Homeland. And going up 4-2 before the split, it's about pretty even, but definitely Team Front could look a lot better going into their defense. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Homeland go the rush. Knowing from what I've seen, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to stick to their guns, but who knows? It could happen because of they're wanting to get back to Team Front for what they brought. Because we're going to basement, we see laundry supply and a blitz coming out from Exile. So I mean, excuse me, dang it, that blitz rush would be pretty exciting to see. I'm not gonna lie, but a sledge being brought out, so that vertical play is going to be a lot more prevalent on a site like basement instead of meeting, because holding that first floor, it's a lot harder than holding something like a second floor, holding dorms, because of how much space there is for the attackers to take. They're able to take that second floor and then work their way down. Meet with in a site like meeting dining. Second floor is really the only place to go. So the attackers have to go through there, have to fight their way through the roamers. But we're seeing an Ella and a Goyo for the first time on Team Front. So a lot of denial coming out from the smoke than Goyo. And, you know, an Ella, you don't see a lot of Ella play much. Simply because there's other defenders that could bring more utility. Something like a mute. But the Gersmont mines possibly be used for location, you know, something like the new proximity alarms that we've seen. But I'm very curious to see how Invictus is going to be using these Gershmont grenades, Gershmont mines. I believe that's how you call them. But we see that Team Front really they're all prepared. They have a very limited roam presence. Most of them are in sight. You know, we see possibly Invictus holding that northern side, but the remaining members of Homeland are just all around. You know, we see the Ella being in Big Tower, but that is just not where the attack is coming from. some breaching charges going to ring out that self-destruction. It's going to allow the attackers of Homeland to really execute their attack much better. It's going to allow them to rotate when needed. Oh, this drone is getting so close to spotting this Ella out, but so close, and I think the drone is going to be able to spot it. That means that Invictus knows that as well. They're going to back off, throw a Gershmont mine to really cover their presence, but now this Maverick is going to be able to get... There we go. Not the best. You're so close. Luckily, I think the new Maverick buff, where he's getting 6 torches instead of 5, might help with that a little bit more. As right now, Maverick does not have the gas remaining in his canister to deal with really any hard breaching. That's going to allow him to get through walls. But Exile with the frag grenade is going to take out Ginga, and that means Homeland is going to have the opening pick going into this basement site. And the 1460, a great gun, is just going to be down. The frag grenade going to be used to deal with the Maestro cam. Okay, I see you, Observer. Very funny. Very funny. You might be right in that sense. But Yasser might as well, as they're going to go down possibly to the Zafia. Impact nades. Zafia might have to deal with some damage herself, as Exile's going to be able to finish up the kill onto the Maestro. But Ella luckily going to make it a shining beacon of hope for Team Front, as they're going to need to start winning these rounds. There we go. The Gershmont mines actually are going to help Invictus clean up that kill, as CME and Invictus go down as well. Exile getting pretty close to this ace. All they need to do is find the remaining kill on Joe, but a quad's pretty good enough, as they're going to go 5-2 in this first split. And now, depending on where Team Front goes, we could see this really go to match point, go all the way to something like a 7-2. Homeland is looking very strong. And now we see Team Front opting to go back to basement. They're testing their luck again. We're seeing the same lineup. Exile, I really wish Exile would go with a Fuse, because Fuse is a wonderful operator, one of the most fun operators in the game. He's a chunky lad, but once you get past that, speed, the AK-12, and those cluster charges are just a blast to play. If you haven't tried them before, hop into a casual game or a quick match or whatever it's called now, and just blast away. But luckily, they're going to opt over to that Sledge instead, who is going to bring a lot more utility. They got those frag grenades. You've got that sledgehammer that's just able to deal so much soft destruction, which brought a reign of terror over Team Front. You know, we saw Exile get a quad feed, quad kill. That's a COD term. That's not a siege term. Over to Team Front. But Team Front, they're opting with the same lineup. We see that Goyo, who really didn't get much done with those Goyo shields. We didn't see them being used to really deny utility from the attackers. We didn't see it used to deny presence. So it's possibly, could those shields be placed better from CME? Could they just be really handled better? The C4s didn't claim anything. We just didn't see. We saw a very quiet round coming out from the defenders of Team Front. We're still seeing some reinforcements come out, and sometimes, you know, you have that last one, but luckily that's not going to happen next season, because it's going to be a global reinforcement pool. That means one person, if need be, could put out all 10 reinforcements. I'd be very interested to see how long that would take, but it's definitely possible with the changes that are coming next season. You know, you see CME with that one reinforcement left, and I mean, they're just going to have to not change that. They're going to have to wait it out, but some Gershmont mine's going to be used, as Bees just going to have to back off. That possibly means that the defenders of Team Front know that they are there, but there's really no one around to realize that. And Rome presence not there for Team Front once again. Could that somewhat be a mistake from Team Front? Last round, that means that Homeland was just really able to encapsulate the site. They were able to really attack how they wanted. There was no time wasting. There was a lot of just, hey, the rest of the map is clear. Let's take our time and make sure that the execution is really, really clear, because there's no one to really put pressure on the rest of Team Front. The closest person we can see is Joe with that SMG-11, but they're just so important, and Invictus with the Scorpion as well. But as I mentioned, Joe is just so important with that smoke canister. They can't really afford to go anywhere. But splash grenades are going to go out, try to get Invictus off of that white stairs, and it's going to work to a T. And that means that Invictus is going to have to back off. But Homeland, they're going to about a minute, and they're just starting to get rid of these hard hatches, those reinforced hatches, and the soft walls. A frag grenade is going to be cooked, thrown out, and it is going to deal damage to Anarchy himself. I'm gonna say that was possibly a mistake. You never know, but we're seeing Joe being very close on this. But the SMG-11 gonna be a quick draw onto Anarchy, gonna deal some damage, but it's not enough. And now we see Team Front really. They have the advantage. They just need to take advantage of it. The Gershman Mine gonna be thrown out. Oh, and Nomad gonna be quick peeking a great shot as they're gonna be able to find the head of Navozo. But Beezer finding two as Joe gets taken down. And right now, it's just Ginga and Yazzer against the rest of Homeland as Joe is still down but not out. And there we go. The SMG-11 gonna be a takeout. Yazzer and now Ginga with that 416C are gonna be able to deny this diffuser. They put down one, and Team Front with a great job by Ginga, making sure that diffuser was not planted, just making sure that the guns were pointed in the right direction. You gotta compliment Team Front, but you also gotta really console Homeland because they should have had that in the bag. They should have been planting the diffuser, not somewhat going for frags, because both of those players were looking exactly at Ginga, and Ginga was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on? Pew pew pew, we win the round." And now it's a 5v3. Team Front seem to somewhat, that's going to allow them a breath of life because they still have the chance to get those 3 points.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Doc coming out though from CME this time. Now it's a different operator choice this time. Instead of opting for something like a Mira from what we've seen on the side of Homeland, they're opting for that ACOG, and Doc is just, it's so sad to see Doc lose his ACOG. He's probably, that means his utility or pick rate is probably going to go down because he offers something that most defenders don't have. He's able to really hold long sights relatively quickly. He's able to heal up other teammates, and that might be the reason that some teams opt to kind of keep him around, is just he's able to, you know, forgive some players when they mess up, go for a spawn peek, something like that. So we'll see how the meta kind of shapes out with this new season, but we're not going to see pro play shift this season because Shadow Legacy is not going to be able to be played. The ACOGs are, the operators are not. So I actually retract my statement because there's some things that you just can't change, like the removal of some ACOGs from operators. And the hard breach guys that is going to be played on some operators. It's going to be very interesting to see how the meta shifts with this new season, because Siege as we know it is just really changing. Being very cautious, wanting to make sure that nobody is around to really take out the attackers of Homeland. But Team Front, they're not changing up their strats at all. They're being very patient. They're waiting on sight. We see a different roam game coming out this time. We see Invictus and Yazzers, you know, with those C4s, with the Vector and the MPX, just holding in something like Meeting Hall, Kitchen, and Dining. But an attack coming through in Attic, Zafia is going to try to shoot through the window, not going to be able to find the Doc, who, even if they did, is going to be able to heal himself right back up. And now with about a minute 30, we have yet to see somewhat of a concentrated attack onto the site from Homeland. They're still trying to get through Attic. They're still trying to really push forward, make sure that everyone knows where Team Front is. The C4 gonna be prepped, possibly. Somebody gives the Valkyrie the info, and they're just able to detonate that, claim a kill. But now some charges gonna go off. Homeland, then the time is now to push forward. But Invictus possibly knows that Exile is right around this corner, and so does Exile. They're just waiting with a frag grenade. It's gonna go off, gonna do a little bit of damage to Joe, and it's just not gonna be enough. But Invictus is still just waiting around this corner. Oh no, the frag grenade! It's gonna allow Joe to escape, but Anarchy is gonna find Ginga of his own in Exile, as well as gonna win that gunfight. And now Homeland with a 2-man advantage. We see Joe on this first floor wanting to get something of their own. That means that smoke canisters are not going to be there to deny entry onto the site, but the team is going to be able to find the head of Exile. So now with one less man down, that means Team Front might have a better shot at defending the site, as Joe is back on site, able to deny a plant and able to deny entry onto the site as a C4 shot. It's not going to really do anything, but with Team Front able to find two, Beezer and Devozo are going to be able to have to either plant this or find the kills. And now we see Beezer putting the diffuser on the ground. They have about 3 seconds, but Team Front are looking exactly for Beezer. Beezer is not going to do anything at all, as the Doc is just going to take her out clean as day. And Team Front, they're looking to come back on this one with a 2-round momentum going into round 10. Yeah, some great play by Team Front, and they're winning this like Homeland did. They're winning this with men alive, a lot more people than it should be for what we've seen from Homeland. Homeland, at least from what they were on the defense, looked pretty strong, but Siege is inherently a defender-sided map. So, it could possibly be that both these teams are just kind of taking advantage of the inherent advantages that Rainbow Six gives you. But we're seeing a 6th pick onto the Clash as we go down to Meeting Hall and Kitchen. We're seeing a Clash for the first time in this match. And Clash is such a unique operator because she is such a different style of play for the defenders. I want to say Monty on the defense because she's sort of like that, but the ability to consistently deal damage to the attackers can really be a burden, because if you're on 20 health, you see a Clash, you can't take that fight because the Clash is just going to deal slow damage to you. It's going to be able to take you out, and you can't do anything about it. We see natural hard counters like Zofia and Pally. We see Zofia being played by Beezer. Those concussion impacts are going to be able to deal damage to her. That's going to allow the rest of Homeland to take her out. But how concentrated is that attack going to be wherever Joe is playing? Yeah, we see Joe and Yazzer being deployed onto dorms, wanting to hold onto this attic side, possibly where Joe is. That's really the main goal. But Seam is just going to run through. We see that hatch being broken up. That's going to allow an easy rotate coming out from Team Front. And that's something that we've seen a lot of, is just very good rotations coming out from the defenders, whether it's in attic or dorms, something like that. And it makes it so much harder for the attackers to locate where these roamers are, something like the Valkyrie. But Beezer's going to be able to spot the castle pings going out. So now the Yazzer knows exactly where that drone is going to be able to shoot it. But Beezer has a second one, and he shot the first one, bring out the second one, but execution still not here yet. Droning phase still coming through. We see Beezer, Anarchy, Merc all bringing out their robotic friend to make sure they locate where all the members of Team Front is. And Joe gonna be dealt some damage, and that's not what you want for a character like Clash, because about one bullet will be able to take her down. And the longer the round goes on, the more presence and the harder she is to take out. But Anarchy gets the opening pick for Homeland. That's going to be Yazzer off the board. But there's still remaining members of Team Front to take out. The Clash is going to be down. So now Homeland, they have the 5v3 again. we're seeing just a lot of repeats. They just need to finish it out. And hopefully, taking that scene means that this will exactly happen. It's just Invictus and Ginga. But we've seen crazier things happen before. And as Ginga takes out, oh no, the sledgehammer! You can't whack him. The sledgehammer does not have that range. And now, Invictus is going to be down, so it's Ginga against the rest of Homeland. But Invictus is going to be able to call out members. Plant is going to be going down. That's definitely good for Merc. And there we go. We see Ginga shoot Invictus before going down himself, saving him the pain of interrogations like Cav. But Homeland going up on match point. They are looking to finish this one out. They're not looking for a draw. They're looking for that 3-point victory. And now Team Front, they just have 2 rounds to finish it all out. And they're going to opt to go back to Meeting Hall and Kitchen. And I don't know if we're going to see a 6-pick on the Clash, because the Clash really didn't work out. The Clash was just not as strong. It didn't waste time. It didn't do anything like that. And Joe on the go-yo just might have more of an impact. And as the time wastes down, weighing his options, might be on to go in the Clash, and he's going to elect to go to the Kaid, which on Meeting Hall Kitchen isn't a very strange pick. I mentioned before, he's able to get both of those walls, and he's able to electrify something else, therefore denying the attackers entry, making it harder for them to get through site, making it so Anarchy has to do a whole lot of work, waste a whole lot of time, and just be a whole detriment to the rest of Homeland. But I expect that Homeland is a lot more prepared for something like this. Anarchy doing relatively well, going 9-5, along with the remaining members of Homeland. We see Exile 13-7. The KD of Homeland and the kill numbers is relatively high compared to Team Front, who is pretty consistent across the board. We see the lowest of Joe, 5, but the highest of Ginga is 7. So they're really spreading around the love of killing somebody. Don't take that out of context, but it's true. Meanwhile, Homeland, they're letting the members do the work. They're letting Exile Beezer really roam free with that L85, that M762. That is allowing them to just claim so much area. But we're seeing some entry onto dorms, and Yazer's going to take some damage, just not really caring about where the castle goes, just roaming free, and that's something that they really have to worry about, because Beezer has just been so present on that dorm's window, wanting to find somebody, and they were so close to taking out Yazer's, but no Doc. Still, Yazer is alive, and now we're seeing Navozo and Exile already in office, and they're wanting to enter into sight, as Invictus is the only defender, Invictus and Ginga. Some SMG-11 shots going to go out. That means Navozo is just going to have to back off as Exile breaks down that castle barricade, allowing so much easier entry into sight, but Invictus definitely wants to deny that. Frag grenade pin gonna be pulled, as we're seeing Exile wanting to find something with the frag grenade. Not going to do so yet. They're still wanting to see exactly where the members of Team Front are with these drones. They're going to locate that mute. And now we're seeing some vertical play possibly being utilized. But Joe is great shot, great reticle placement, takes out Beezer. And now Homeland have to be worried a lot more than that mute on site, as they know that the Kaid is just waiting around the corner, as does Yazer, who is in dorms, and this drone locates him. Invictus is going to make a great shot and a great double kill, taking out Merc as well, and his Exile is going to claim his fallen brothers, taking out the Kaid, but it might not be enough, as they're going to have to find 4 more to make this round theirs, to claim victory, and this just might not be it. They have time on their side, so this definitely is possible. We're seeing Anarchy go pick up the diffuser. No one truly inside. We're seeing Ginga in the back of it, wanting to find anybody who really dares go near it. being very cautious, Anarchy, wanting to see if anybody's coming through bathrooms. Is Exile still on that second floor, wanting to find anybody out? And there we go, an entry onto site. Ginga still prone on the floor, is going to be able to find Anarchy. And now Exile with so low health and not going to do much as Team Front wins round 11, and we're going the full yard, the full 12 rounds. Are we going to see a draw come out, or are we going to see Homeland Academy push through 7-5 and Team Front getting so close to victory, and it's just not going to happen? They're going to have to either deal with 1 point or nothing, and I think we all know that 1 point is better than nothing. So hope is not given up. They still have something to fight for, and that's going to have to be fought in laundry, basement floor, as we're seeing a typical pick for operator pick from what we've seen so far. We're seeing that Goya, but a sixth pick off the Ella onto the Vigil this time around. We might see a dedicated roam this time around, because on the previous basement sites, most of Team Front, they've just been stacked onto the site. They've just put all their 5 members onto the site. Invictus would hold onto White Stairs with the Gertrude Mine, with the Scorpion, and just try to fight anyone off that would come near. But we might see Invictus possibly roam that second floor, roam Meeting Hall, something like that, that would put pressure onto Homeland, because previously Homeland haven't exactly looked the strongest on the site. They did win the 1 round, but that was up to Ginga's great 416 play, able to deny the diffuser and take out whoever was planting. So I don't expect that to happen again. I don't expect a 1v3, although it would be a great way to end the match. I'm expecting to see some utility play, utility denial come out from Homeland, and possibly put a stop to the Goyo shields, because looking around, it's not exactly clear where these Goyo shields are, where Seam has really put them. And that could really be the story of the round. But oh no, Invictus gonna get lucky, not even gonna take any damage, as they're gonna sprint by that wall. And Homeland has really been active. They've been really engaged very early on to the round, and they want to find any opening frags that they can. The drone gonna not locate the Vigil, as his gadget was active, but the drone gonna be taken out nonetheless, as Invictus is just gonna go right back on the site. And there we go. We are seeing all 5 members just holding onto this basement site. And now 2 minutes remain for Homeland to put an attack to the site, possibly utilize the vertical play with somebody like the Sledge, those Zofia breaching charges, because the world is theirs, and now they just have to take it. They're still being very cautious, wanting to see if anybody's hanging around first floor, second floor, as the drones from Novozo and Merc are making this clear. But now we might see this attack come through. Somebody like the Beezer, we see those breaching charges starting to be used. Exile getting into position, start just whamming away at the wall. Flashbang is going to be possibly used to deny those ADSs, but Novozo fully flashed by a friendly flashbang is just going to have to back off. Drone is going to be able to locate Ginga. That means he's going to have to just back off. Oh, and an engagement coming through. Ginga gonna shoot some bullets. And oh, so close to locating the head of Exile. And it's just not going to happen. The frag grenade going to be used. Going to do no damage to anyone. And now Team Front are hunkering down in sight. They have to utilize time to their advantage. There's so much time for Homeland to attack onto the site. No opening frags yet. A frag grenade going to be prepped, dealing of damage to a Goyo shield. There we go. We're starting to see CME just draining that utility from the attackers. And as we located, Maverick is going to be dealing damage to that hatch, wanting to locate another sightline for Homeland to use, drop down to. And Beezer is going to find Seam, but Ginga as well. And it's a 4v4. Confidence going out from Exile in chat, as now final 20 seconds remaining, and the time is now for Homeland to execute this. And creeping down the white stairs, the Vigil is not going to win that one, as Anarchy is just going to pre-fire that. A 4v2 plant going down for Mert. It's Ginga and Joe, as Ginga's going to be able to down Anarchy. And 40 seconds. They've got about 30 to get to the diffuser, disable it, as you have that 7-second timer to steal it down. But Joe and Ginga being very cautious and crucial. Ping's going out, and Joe is not going to win that one. It's just a 416C against the remaining members of Homeland. Oh, and it's just not going to happen this time around, as Homeland are going to win it out in the last round, 7-5. Little crushing for Team Front to go down after coming all the way back. But Homeland on Oregon are going to come through. A great job by Homeland to really stop the momentum of Team Front. They did a great job on that defensive side, and while their attacking side wasn't as strong, they were able to really push it out in the end. And it's not an end to the week, as we've got more coming, but I don't know if we have an interview coming on in. We might see an interview coming out from Homeland, as they did 7-5. Did win that 7-5. So just waiting to see coming through. And I apologize if I sounded a little hoarse or was scrambling at times. I trying my best, but we're waiting to see if there's anybody gonna come in. But I think this was a great game. We saw some individual performances that were really, really well done. We looked at that 1v3 from Novozo. The mute was just able to put a stop to it. And we do see Beezer come through. Hello, Beezer.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right. So, how were you preparing for Oregon? Did you watch any of Team Front beforehand? Have you been preparing for Oregon strats or any of that?
Yeah, our map bans went perfectly. Literally, we predicted them exactly. We knew they were a heavy cafe team. We knew they liked cafe. We're really comfortable with the way the map bans went. Like, once we knew that it was either going to be Villa or Oregon, we're like, okay, we won no matter what. Though it was very, very sloppy with our performance today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, what were the comms in Novozo's 1v3? How were the comms? Was info being able to given out to Novozo? How did the team kind of support Novozo in that 1v3?
Yeah, so we had Valk cams. I'm the dedicated caller when it's a clutch situation. So I had those calls flowing. I had that info flowing, so he kind of knew where to look and where to peek. And I mean, it all came down to Novozo. That kid's crazy. I mean, he really showed up there, and it was really a hype moment for all of us. I mean, we all screamed. It was really, really, really good.
Yeah. How were you kind of able to put a stop? Team Front, they're really starting to come back in those later rounds. Was there anything mentally that changed in the gameplay? How did you kind of put a stop to that?
Yeah, it kind of gave us a mental reset. When we get leads, we kind of get a little cocky. Like in that 5v2, we brought down to a 3v2. It's something that we're working on the side in scrims and coach talk. It's something that we're dealing with. But I kind of gave our team a mental breakdown, our mental reset. I said, hey, all that matters is this next round. None of what happened in the previous rounds matters except this round. So we kind of went in there. We're adapting to their hold. We're like, okay, we know what we messed up last time. We can fix what we did last time and make it better. With that laundry rotate instead of freezer, the bunker rotate instead of hatch drop, it all just played out. Once I killed that Goyo, I mean, I have free range into freezer and laundry. So it's like I have that cross. We can get that plant down. We just hold passive angles, and it kind of just went from that to the win.
All right, and the last one I have is, how are you kind of preparing for the latter half of the season? You're going in, you're looking pretty good in the standings. You're looking pretty high. Is there anything you're kind of preparing for the second half of the season?
The only thing that I'm ready for is that in control game. I love all the guys on in control, GXD, Sherble, and then the other guys. I mean, they're all right, but I love GXD and I love Sherble. I'm really excited to play them. I know when they were on Unreal, we really never got to play them in any leagues, even though we were in the same league as them. So I'm really excited to be able to play them. And GXD is a long time friend. I mean, all the other teams, they're good, but we feel like we are way more prepared and way better, honestly, than the teams that we're about to play. I mean, you never know what happens on game day. Everyone's working hard. Everyone's grinding. but we're really comfortable for the rest of the season, and we're ready just to take playoffs and take the season.
Yeah, Homeland versus In Control. That should be a wonderful game. Now,
Mhm.
is there anything you kind of want to say to any of the Homeland fans watching at home?
Yeah, I
before we-
want to thank Homeland the org for supporting us through our team switch, where our main team left for Lucky Reapers and we went from the academy team to the main team. I really want to thank the org for sticking with us, all the nice things they've said about us. Shout out Gene, shout out frick, what's his name? Spacing out. Shout out Grease, yeah, Grease. Shout out Gene. I mean, they're the homies. Shout out the boys. Obviously Nevo, all them. Our coach, our newest coach, Heems, he really put in some good work for this map bans, and everything just went into play for us. And I'm really proud of everyone how we've been performing um, this season in SCL.
That's wonderful. You're looking great right now in
Mhm.
C's Cardinal League. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for coming in, Beezer.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. All right, so that is it for us tonight. We see Homeland take control in Oregon 7-5 over Team Front. Now that is all we have for tonight. But coming up Wednesday, August 26th, we've got Prism Esports versus Tactical Banditry at 8:30. That should be a great game. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Light Rose on production. Madoko Observer is tabled. All wonderful people. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and have a wonderful rest of your evening.